In his most recent book, Berkshire native Dennis Pregent tells the tales of men and women who left the Berkshires to participate in the world's most consequential war, World War II. Steve Kiltonick sat down with the author recently in North Adams and spoke with him about the writing of Berkshire heroes in World War II with courage and honor.
On October 9th, Dennis Pregent was at the North Adams Library in the midst of a week-long swing through the Berkshires to promote his latest book, Berkshire Heroes in World War II with Courage and Honor. The last time I spoke with the North Adams native was 2020, when the Vietnam Marine veteran was in the area to speak about his first book, in which he told the stories of federal vets who attended St. Joseph's High School in North Adams. Since then, Dennis has written Born in the Berkshires and Berkshire Patriots, Stories of Sacrifice, which takes readers on a journey covering 4 centuries of conflict. All 4 books profile individuals from 3 select towns or cities in the Berkshires: Adams, Cheshire, North Adams, and Williamstown. Berkshire Heroes in World War II chronicles the stories of 28 sons and daughters who answered their country's call to arms and survived some of the war's bloodiest battles. All later returned to their beloved Berkshire Hills to resume their old lives or start new ones. Pregent's interest in World War II goes back to his childhood days growing up in Greylock, a small section of North Adams.
My dad and all my uncles, I had 4 or 5 uncles, had all served. And I used to sit at 5 years old, sit near the picnic table and hear their stories.
While searching for potential veterans for the book, Pregent contacted local VA reps, town historians, and family members.
I was so impressed by these young men and women who'd never been more than 50 miles from home. Now were going hundreds of miles away to be trained and then overseas, not knowing where they were going. 50% were Catholics and the others from Protestant faiths. Many were mill workers, laborers, teachers. They served in places from Africa to Sicily to the Himalayas, the broad Pacific, Okinawa, the Battle of the Bulge.
Pregent found one common thread among all of them:
selflessness. Some were drafted, most volunteered, but just a willingness to serve the country in a time of need.
The Veterans Memorial here in downtown North Adams features a World War II wall with the names of 9 veterans Pregent featured in his book. Included among those is a paratrooper who met General Eisenhower on the eve of D-Day. Henry St. Pierre was one of 14 children born to French Catholic parents. When war broke out, he enlisted and volunteered for the paratroopers, serving with the 101st Airborne.
They're elite forces for sure, for sure. You jump out of a plane in the middle of the night, not knowing what you're facing in enemy territory. It was hundreds of gliders that did it, and many paratroopers perished.
Pregent interviewed St. Pierre's nephew, who told him,
Henry said that he was in that picture with Eisenhower, and I believe that picture is Echo Company the night before they jumped into Normandy.
Henry survived D-Day, was wounded, and went on to participate in other major battles, including the Battle of the Bulge, where he was captured and served as a POW.
In captivity, the Germans learned he was a Catholic and pushed him on giving up his religion or relinquishing it or saying, I don't believe anymore, and he refused to.
St. Pierre was decorated for heroism, returned home, was married, had 2 daughters, and opened a barbershop. He died at age 59. Ferdinando Berti was born in Cheshire and attended St. Stanislaus in Adams. He enlisted in the Navy, where he was selected for the PT boat squadron as a radio man.
PT boats were brand new, and there was a lot of charisma in getting in, joining them.
Early in the war, a lieutenant who would later captain the famous PT 109 was sent Bertie's way.
One of the first PT boat groups to come in to get trained, Kennedy came in, John F. Kennedy, the former president, and he trained him on operating the radio.
Bertie served in the Philippines as a PT boat gunner in the Pacific's major battles, his crew sinking many Japanese boats. Ferdy, as he was called, returned home, married, had 2 sons, and began a 30-year career with the John Hancock Life Insurance Company. Bob Nichols from North Adams was a Navy seaman gunner on the battleship USS Missouri, where the Japanese peace signing in Tokyo Bay took place.
He got to see a number of the dignitaries come on board his boat, MacArthur, a few others that signed the peace treaty.
Nichols later worked in a textile mill, drove a truck, and was a handyman. He had a son, 2 daughters, and a wonderful 68-year marriage. He died in 2020. Others in the book include William Linscott from Adams.
He won the championship downhill ski race on the Thunderbolt Mountain, is located in Adams, when he was 16.
Linscott joined the Ski Corps as a rifleman with the 10th Mountain Division.
Spent most of his time in the mountains of Italy around Mount Serra until he was wounded by an airburst.
Bill recovered from injuries, came home, married, had 2 daughters, and a long 40-year career in the insurance industry. He passed in 2001. Joe Zasloff from Williamstown became a radio operator with the 26th Yankee Infantry Division.
He was sent into a special skills school because he was so smart.
Zasloff fought his way across Germany and after returning taught political science at the University of Pittsburgh for 49 years, wrote 9 books, and became a well-known authority on Indochina. Roger Dennett, also from Williamstown, was stationed in Hawaii when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor.
They come across a Japanese mini sub. The sub had grounded. One of its members was dead. The other one was alive. They were 2-man submarines. They captured the first POW of the war.
Dennett went on to fly 60 combat missions as a gunner with the 409th Bombardment Group. The only living World War II veteran Pregent spoke with was Cheshire's Narciso Massaconi, who just turned 102. Chizo, as he's called, enlisted and became a radar operator in the Army Anti-Aircraft Gun Battalion. He ended up on Iwo Jima, fighting in one of the bloodiest battles of the Pacific.
And he talked about the black sands that are it's hard to dig a foxhole in them. And he talked about the struggling to dig a foxhole and the heat and the bullets.
Chizo returned to Cheshire, married, had 6 children, and returned to his job at General Electric. He continued to play baseball locally and enjoyed hunting and fishing well into his 90s. Other veterans include Elizabeth McNichol from Williamstown, who served in the Army Nurse Corps in Europe. They
just kept going out day after day, knowing, putting themselves in harm's way and how difficult it would be, but they did it anyways.
Pregent said the book offered him the chance to preserve history and honor the legacy of these mostly silent heroes who once lived among us.
They came home, got married, had children, went back to work, and didn't complain about anything. They just resumed their lives.
The greatest generation, resilient, patriotic, and courageous men and women who sacrificed so much for all of us. For Real to Real, I'm Steve Kiltonick.
And for those interested in purchasing Berkshire Heroes in World War II, the book can be found on Amazon. Pregent is already working hard on his 5th book, which will focus on the Berkshires and the Civil War. We really look forward to that release.